The Odyssey sailed silently through the abyss, its gleaming hull a stark contrast to the infinite darkness around it. Inside, the crew had settled into their routines, though each step and each breath held an unspoken tension. They had defeated the Zephyr, broken the Void's grip on them, but every soul aboard knew that their true enemy was still out there. Somewhere in the vastness of space, the heart of the Void awaited. It was patient, biding its time, and they could feel it, like a storm building on the horizon. Captain Rook stood at the helm of the bridge, his eyes scanning the vast starfield that stretched before them. He had spent countless hours here, watching, waiting, preparing. His crew had grown accustomed to the sight of him standing there, the weight of leadership etched into his every feature. As he stared into the darkness, he could almost hear it, the faint whispers of the Void, beckoning them, challenging them to face it one last time. Life aboard the Odyssey continued in a tense rhythm. The clamor of maintenance tools echoed through the ship as engineers worked tirelessly to keep systems operational. In the mess hall, conversations were hushed, the crew exchanging stories of home and tales of distant worlds they had left behind. There were moments of laughter, of camaraderie, but beneath it all lay a shared unease. They had come too far, faced too many horrors, and they all knew that their journey was nearing its climax. Days passed in this quiet anticipation. The ship drifted through regions of space that defied description, swirling nebulae, dense asteroid fields, and stretches of absolute darkness. Each day brought new challenges, new scans of the Void's influence, and new mysteries that they logged but dared not explore just yet. And then, it happened. The moment they had all been waiting for. The ship's alarms blared, a harsh sound that reverberated through the hull. Rook snapped his gaze to the console as data flooded the screen. The sensors had detected something massive ahead, something that stretched across miles of space and radiated an energy unlike anything they had encountered. He felt his heart skip a beat. This was it, the heart of the Void. "Full stop," Rook commanded, his voice calm but edged with a resolve that cut through the rising tension. "Scan the structure. I want every detail." The bridge crew moved swiftly, their hands flying over the controls as the ship's sensors whirred to life. The image that formed on the screen sent a chill through them all. It was a colossal vortex, a swirling mass of darkness surrounded by crackling tendrils of energy. At its center was a shadowy construct, part fortress, part ship, and entirely otherworldly. It looked ancient, like a relic of a forgotten age, and it pulsed with a malevolent energy that seemed to seep into the very fabric of space. "Captain," one of the crew members spoke, her voice trembling despite her efforts to remain composed. "The energy readings are off the scale. This is it. This is the Void's core." Rook took a deep breath, his eyes narrowing as he studied the construct. "Prepare all systems for combat," he ordered. "We're going in." The crew didn't hesitate. They had trained for this moment, prepared for the final confrontation that would define their journey. Shields powered up, weapon systems hummed as they came online, and the ship's engines surged with energy. The Odyssey moved forward, cutting through the darkness as it made its way toward the core. The Void reacted instantly. Tendrils of dark energy shot out from the vortex, arcing toward the ship like the claws of a monstrous beast. The Odyssey's shields flared, creating a protective dome that crackled with light as the tendrils struck. The bridge shuddered, and the crew held their breath as alarms blared. "Steady!" Rook barked, gripping the console. "Hold the line! Keep us moving forward!" The ship pressed on, its weapons firing beams of light that sliced through the darkness. Explosions lit up the Void as tendrils were severed, only for new ones to emerge, writhing and thrashing with an almost sentient rage. It was as if the Void itself was alive, responding to their every move, adapting, resisting. Hours passed as they battled their way closer to the core. The ship's interior grew hot, the strain of the fight manifesting in every creak of the hull, every flicker of the lights. The crew worked tirelessly, rerouting power, reinforcing shields, adjusting the ship's course with every new obstacle the Void threw at them. Amidst the chaos, the ship's comms crackled to life. Rook felt his heart skip a beat as a familiar voice echoed through the bridge. Isla. Her projection flickered into existence, a ghostly image standing at the center of the command deck. She looked as resolute as ever, her eyes fixed on Rook. "Rook," she began, her voice clear despite the static that laced it. "The core ahead is the heart of the void. It's the nexus of its power, and it won't let you reach it without a fight." Rook nodded, his gaze locked onto her. "How do we destroy it?" he asked, his voice low but filled with an intensity that matched the gravity of the situation. "You need to breach the core," Ayla replied, her eyes flicking to the console. "Once inside, you'll have to overload its energy matrix, but be warned, the void will try to stop you. It will throw everything it has at you to protect itself." The bridge was silent as Ayla's words sank in. The crew exchanged glances, their faces set with determination. They had come too far to back down now. They had faced horrors beyond comprehension, had stared into the abyss and refused to yield. This was their moment. "Understood," Rook said, his voice carrying the weight of their resolve. "We breach the core. We end this, here and now." The Odyssey surged forward, its cannons firing relentlessly as it closed in on the core. The void responded with a fury that shook the ship to its foundations. Massive tendrils lashed out, striking at the shields with a force that sent ripples of light across their surface. The ship rocked violently, alarms blaring as systems struggled to compensate for the damage. "Shields down to 30%, a crew member called out, her voice straining against the chaos. "Redirect auxiliary power to the shields," Rook commanded, his eyes never leaving the screen. "Hold them steady. We're not done yet." The crew worked in unison, rerouting power, reinforcing the shields, adjusting the ship's trajectory as they pressed on. They were almost there. The core loomed ahead, a swirling mass of darkness that pulsed with an ominous energy. "Target the core," Rook ordered, his voice cutting through the din. "Full power to the forward cannons." The ship's weapons charged, glowing with an intensity that filled the bridge with a faint blue light. A barrage of energy beams shot out, striking the core's surface. Explosions rippled across the dark construct, tearing away fragments of its shell. The void screamed in response, its tendrils flailing wildly, but the Odyssey held firm. The ship shuddered as another wave of energy surged from the core, slamming into the shields with a force that made the hull groan. Rook gritted his teeth, his hands gripping the console as the ship buckled under the onslaught. "We're almost there," he shouted. "Prepare to breach the core." Ayla's projection flickered, her expression tense. "Rook, listen. When you breach the core, the void will try to flood the ship with its energy. You'll need to destabilize the core quickly and escape before it collapses." Rook nodded, his mind racing through the steps they would need to take. "Ready all systems for a quick retreat," he ordered, his eyes flicking to the crew. "This is it. We go in, overload, and get out." The Odyssey drew closer, its weapons firing in a relentless barrage. The void recoiled, its defenses crumbling as the ship closed in on the core. With a final blinding blast, the Odyssey breached the core, piercing its heart. For a moment, everything went still. Then a surge of dark energy erupted from the core, washing over the ship like a tidal wave. The hull groaned under the pressure, alarms screaming as the ship's systems went haywire. "Now, overload the matrix," Rook commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. The crew moved with precision, fingers flying over the controls as they initiated the overload sequence. Energy readings spiked, the core's power spiraling out of control. The ship shuddered violently as warning lights flashed, indicating the imminent collapse of the void's heart. "Core destabilizing," a crew member shouted, her voice barely audible over the din. "We need to get out of here." "Full reverse," Rook roared. "Get us out of the blast zone now." The Odyssey lurched as its engines roared to life, propelling it away from the collapsing core. Behind them, the core crackled and writhed, its structure fracturing as energy spiraled outward in chaotic waves. The void shrieked, its tendrils thrashing in a final desperate attempt to hold on. The ship raced through the darkness, dodging debris and energy surges. The crew held their breath, their eyes locked on the screen as the core imploded, sending a shockwave tearing through space. "Brace for impact!" Rook shouted, gripping the console. The shockwave hit, a blinding light filling the bridge as the ship's shields flared one last time. The Odyssey rocked violently, then stabilized as the wave passed. Silence fell, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's systems coming back online. "We're clear," a crew member reported, her voice trembling with relief. "The core, it's gone." Rook exhaled, his shoulders sagging as the tension finally released. He turned to Ayla's fading projection, a small smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "You did it," she said softly, her image flickering. "The void is weakened. It will take time for it to recover, if it ever does." Rook nodded, his gaze steady. "We couldn't have done it without you, Ayla." Her projection shimmered, her eyes filled with pride. "The void will always be out there, Rook, but so will you, and the crew of the Odyssey. You've proven that even in the darkest reaches, humanity can shine." With that, her image faded, leaving behind only the steady hum of the ship. Rook stood there staring at the spot where she had been, then turned to his crew. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with both triumph and exhaustion. "The void has been pushed back. The galaxy is safe, for now." The crew erupted into cheers, their joy echoing through the bridge. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. They had proven that no matter how deep the void, the light of human courage could pierce through. As the Odyssey resumed its journey, the stars shining brightly around it, a new resolve settled over the crew. They would continue to explore, to seek out the unknown, and to light up the universe with their spirit. Because that's who they were, the crew of the Odyssey, unyielding, defiant, and unbroken. The ship sailed on, leaving behind the echoes of its final stand as a testament to the indomitable will of humanity. Thank you for watching.